The people of Siskin Hospital for Physical Rehabilitation understand how a traumatic accident or illness can temporarily put someone on the sidelines. They also understand just as fully that their patients don't have to stay there. Throughout the years, the staff has been privileged to look into the eyes of countless patients and watch helplessness turn into triumph, defeat into success, and the fear of I can't turn into the spirit of I can. Young, crazy in love, and with their whole future ahead of them. That describes Peter and Samantha a little more than a year ago. They had just gotten engaged over Thanksgiving, and plans were in full swing for their April wedding. But suddenly, everything changed, and their plans for a dream-come-true future began to unravel. Peter, a basketball coach for Covenant College, was at an away game with his team when he suddenly began experiencing strange symptoms, starting with numbness and weakness in his limbs.
The best way that I can describe it is that my hands and my feet were numb, and I noticed that it was hard for me to swallow. I called her on the phone and she couldn't understand me because my speech was getting slurred. I was starting to have trouble walking, so we knew something was serious.
After ruling out stroke, Erlanger's neurological team quickly diagnosed Peter with Guillain-Barre Syndrome, a rare disorder in which the body's immune system attacks the nervous system. At 24 years old, Peter found himself in intensive care and not able to even speak Samantha's name.
Because all of his facial muscles were paralyzed, it was hard to see him be completely fine, not fine, but be normal, and then just all of a sudden out of nowhere, not be able to move anything.
After a week at Erlanger, Peter was ready for the next step in his recovery, and Siskin Hospital was there waiting to help.
But I really wanted to be with him, and so I wanted him to stay in Chattanooga. And when we found out about Siskin, we knew that it was a wonderful hospital. Me be able to stay there and walk through this with him.
The level of care and compassion Peter received at Siskin Hospital went far beyond physical treatment. It extended to genuine concern for this devoted young couple's emotional and spiritual well-being.
I remember probably one of the first times we were there, a therapist came in and wanted to talk to me because he was a graduate of Covenant College, and it was Matt and Nessie actually, and he wanted to pray with us and said, "Hey, I'm cheering for you through these next weeks."
Peter and I, we prayed a couple times, and then later on in the rehab process, Peter was really down about his lack of progress with his swallowing, and he had lost a lot of weight, understandably. And so, again, just trying to be there to listen to concerns, and he offered those concerns, and so I just offered, well, why don't we pray about this right now? So we did.
So we got to know several therapists, and they just became my friends, which is what I really needed. And they were just so sweet to me. And they were there for me. I think they knew how hard it was for us to go through this.
Knowing immediate and aggressive therapy was needed to treat Guillain-Barre, Peter's treatment team laid out a comprehensive plan to get him back on his feet again.
They were very careful with me because they said, your nerves are so fragile right now. If you go too far, you'll actually do way more damage than good to your body.
When it became apparent that he could maybe benefit from one of our technologies at Siskin Hospital, the functional electrical stimulation cycle.
They worked with this machine that helped Peter, use his arms again. And he physically couldn't do it, but with the help of this machine, his muscles could remember what that felt like. You know, and then he used this bike that had electrodes strapped all over, you know, attached to his legs, and the bike would allow him to move his legs, and he could pedal the bike because of these, you know, electrodes that were attached to him, but him on himself, if he tried to do it, he couldn't do it. And then, you know, so they just got really creative with the ways that they wanted to help him relearn to walk. I mean, we can't say enough about who, you know, who the people were that, and you know, were entrusted with caring for Peter, and they didn't just care for Peter, but they cared for me.
I just treat everybody like I want to be treated myself. I just love it here because the goal is to get back to your independence, and you just want everybody to get better. So I just kind of fall in love with my patients while they're here. And I just love them.
Facing a longer recovery than originally anticipated, Peter and Samantha began to reevaluate their wedding plans. Many couples might consider postponing their wedding, but Peter and Samantha's wholehearted love and commitment to one another led them to move the date up to Valentine's Day.
I think for both of us, you know, when we view marriage, going into it, we knew that it was so much more than a wedding, you know, and so much more than just being happy. You know, that marriage is about commitment, and it's about, you know, being sanctified and growing as a person and selflessly loving someone else. So we got married in Siskin Hospital in the conference room.
I just fell in love with them. I was really impressed with Samantha. She was going to marry this man who was really big question mark. She didn't really know what was going to happen to him. So I was really impressed with the whole situation, that they were so in love with each other.
Unbeknownst to Samantha, Peter and his treatment team had been hard at work on a special surprise.
So we didn't have a first dance, or we didn't have anything like that. And so a month later, we were starting to move around, and I had gotten several of our therapists involved, and we were going to surprise Samantha on our 1-month anniversary, and we were going to dance our first dance.
I had been told that we were doing a training video, and we walk in, and I guess I was just oblivious because everybody was like hanging out, and you know, there were a lot of therapists in the room that we liked. You know, like a lot of the ones that we were working with were in there. And then my favorite song is When I Fall in Love, It Will Be Forever. It's a Nat King Cole song. And so he played that. That song came on, and as soon as it came on, I knew, you know, that that's what he was doing.
There wasn't a dry eye in the room as staff and other Siskin Hospital patients watched Peter take Samantha in his arms for their first dance. After leaving Siskin Hospital as an inpatient, Peter continued his recovery with several weeks of outpatient therapy. He made so much progress that he was able to return to work part-time as a basketball coach at Covenant College.
And that was really neat because if we saw a lot of progress when we were at Siskin Hospital, but when we went to go do outpatient, it was honestly even like more and bigger progress. It was really neat to see almost like week to week just how much more flexibility or strength or stamina was coming back.
That was our main rehab goal, get Peter more independent with walking, going up and down stairs, but also ease the burden on his family. That's really the goal for every patient.
Peter completed his outpatient therapy at Siskin Hospital, and today he and Samantha are dancing their way into a beautiful life together, fulfilling a dream that once seemed so uncertain.
Because of Siskin Hospital,
We can love and serve each other.
because of Siskin Hospital, we can dance again.